We're thrilled to welcome Dina Helal, Chief Human Resource Officer at the General Commercial Gaming Regulatory Authority, to the WeAce Spotlight series. With over 20 years of senior leadership experience across global and regional institutions, including Citigroup, HSBC, First Abu Dhabi Bank, and Abu Dhabi Global Market, Dina is a powerhouse in strategic human resource and organizational transformation. Her work spans across wealth management, private banking, M&A integration, and high impact HR leadership. Now steering the HR strategy for one of UAE's most progressive regulatory bodies, Dina brings a deep understanding of how people, policy, and purpose align in driving impactful change. Her journey is not one of leadership excellence, but also of pioneering HR frameworks in emerging industries. Thank you so much, Dina, for being here on Spotlight series with us.
Thank you very much for the invite.
So, Dina, I'd like to start with my first question. You've led multiple teams across some of the region's most respected financial institutions. What defining moments helped shape your leadership approach in such high impact roles?
I think one of the most defining moments in my career was the transition from front office banking into HR. It wasn't the typical career path for me, and it certainly wasn't that easy. And I remember clearly when my hiring manager at the time offered me the role, I just paused and asked him, "Are you offering me to join your HR team?" And then he answered, "Yeah." I said, "But I don't know anything about HR." And I'll never forget his response back then. He said, "I want some of my HR team to be from the business, understand the business, what they need, so they can help serve it properly." And he was absolutely right. It was a complete mindset shift, a transformation in how I understood leadership that pushed me to think beyond the numbers and performance targets and to start looking at the people behind those numbers. It also challenged me to step outside my comfort zone and lead with a completely different lens and to unlearn what I thought I knew and focus on people. That move fundamentally shaped how I see the role of HR, and not as a support function, but as a key strategic enabler that shapes culture and engagement. I learned how to lead differently. I learned the power of listening and to create environments where people feel seen, supported, and empowered. Most of all, I learned that true leadership isn't about holding on to your comfort zone, but it's having the courage to move forward, embrace uncertainty, and understanding the human impact behind every decision.
Wow, that's actually really nice. And for someone like you to actually be in a place like that, that's wonderful. So, okay, so you've been part of major organizational transformations as well, from startup environments to large scale mergers. What are some of the key learnings from from leading HR through such complex changes and integration efforts?
The merger was quite an experience because it was a full journey. It was one of the region's largest, and I learned that transformation is never just about the integration. It wasn't about aligning systems or structures. It was about unifying two distinct cultures, managing uncertainty, and keeping people engaged in the face of change. We weren't just merging two financial institutions. We were bringing together different cultures, histories, leadership styles, and thousands of employees facing deep uncertainty at the time. And one of my biggest takeaways was the power of clarity and consistency, especially in communication. Because in times of ambiguity, people don't just want answers, they need the. And this is when HR becomes the anchor, translating the strategy into action while making space for empathy, because empathy is very important at the time. The more transparent and consistent we are in our communication, the more we build trust. And when people feel informed and included, they are more likely to believe that change, whether it impacts them directly or indirectly, is intentional, meaningful, and aligned with a larger vision. But if you think the merger teaches you everything about transformation, you will be absolutely wrong, because then came the startup experience, and with it, a completely different kind of challenge. We were building from scratch, setting structure, expectations, and defining cultures all at the same time. And here the lesson was different, but equally human. Be bold, but deliberate. Move fast without sacrificing alignment. And make decisions today with tomorrow in mind. These were the main lessons we learned in the startup experience. So, in summary, whether you're scaling up or integrating a legacy institution, transformation isn't linear. There are pivots, setbacks, and hard choices sometimes. But when you engage people early, give them ownership, and help them connect their individual roles to the bigger picture, transformation becomes a shared journey. And across all forms of transformation, the most valuable lesson is that sustainable change doesn't happen to people, it happens with them.
That is one of the best lines that I think you could have said about it.
Thank you.
That's actually a really, really, and I love the way that you said that make decisions with tomorrow in mind. I think that is truly, truly impactful in your way of working.
Because many times you do a decision that suits today, but when you go over and over, you will need to always change to be relevant to the needs and wants that you have and the strategy that you have for the future.
That's true. Absolutely true. Uh, Dean, I'm sure you have had a lot of coaching and mentoring experiences. Can you share an experience where helping someone realign with their strengths or redefining their roles created meaningful impact, both for the individual and the organization at hand?
I think coaching and mentoring in particular is a topic very close to my heart, because I've been always passionate about investing in my teams. And I've been also fortunate enough to work with incredible leaders throughout my career, people I've learned so much from. And to this day, I find myself sometimes applying those lessons. And when I do, I have this big smile on my face, remembering the person who taught me that lesson. And it's a reminder for everyone that leadership is a chain of learning, and it's our responsibility to pass those lessons forward to the people we lead. Having said that, I remember a situation where an employee was promoted from one department to my team. And if you look on paper, it looked like a very natural progression. She was very dedicated, hardworking individual, and she was highly ranked. But something was wrong. The output was always not as expected. And after several one-to-one coaching sessions, it became clear over time that she wasn't the best fit for her strength. Then I had to pause and ask myself, is this a will issue or it's a skill issue? And more importantly, does she realize that this may not be the best role for her? Then, through open conversations, she gradually came to a self realization herself. She wasn't failing, she wasn't just in the right seat. And this experience reinforced the principle I strongly believe in, which is if you can't change the person, change the person. And it's not necessarily means moving them out of the organization. It means that finding the right place where their unique strength can be embraced. The key lies in how you communicate, because that makes all the difference. And the transition shouldn't feel like a setback, it should feel like a recognition of strength. So at that time, we told her that we need your expertise in another area where you can truly add value. And this helped keeping her motivated and vibrant. this person moved to another role that better suited her skills. And once she moved, her performance, engagement improved significantly. Not only benefited her personally, but created greater impact to the team as well and to the business. It's a powerful reminder that investing in people means helping them find the role that they can truly succeed in. If you see the difference in her energy, output, confidence was almost immediate. And for me, it was a reminder that great coaching isn't just about performance, it's about helping people find the right path and make sure they feel empowered and not sidelined in the process.
That is wonderful. And I'm sure, I mean, her, you saw her, you saw her strengths and you saw her weaknesses, and you actually helped mold her into a career that would, make her shine completely out of it.
Yeah, but that's what you have to ask. Is it a will or skill? Because if it's a will, then this person, you have other ways already. But if it's a skill issue, everyone has strength. You need to ensure that you put the person in the right role where their strength can be utilized.
You're correct. Absolutely, absolutely correct. I wish more leaders thought like you. It would have been a wonderful, wonderful place. So I'm sure you've worked with a lot of different kinds of leaders in different generations. From your perspective, how are Gen Z leaders shaping the workplace? Is there a leadership trait that they bring that the older generation could learn from, or vice versa, that the older generation could learn from the Gen Z leaders, and Gen Z leaders could learn from the older generation?
Not that I want to say we're from the older generation, but we have to admit it. Actually, I really like this question because Gen Z is without doubt the topic of the era. I can't think of any single conference summit I have attended recently where Gen Z, AI, and digital transformation were in the center of the conversation. And that reminds me of a conference I attended a few years ago where the speaker said something that stayed with me ever since. The guy said, don't prepare your kids for the jobs we have today. Prepare them for the jobs that will exist 10 to 20 years from now. And that one sentence shifted my entire outlook on the future of work because it's exactly where Gen Z already leads from. They are not trying to fit in the existing workplace. They are actively redesigning it. They lead with a mindset shaped by rapid digital change, global pandemic, climate urgency, and social movements, and their approach is radically different. It is fast, fluid, and deeply values-driven. Unlike the traditional command and control approach, they are leading horizontally. Being raised on social media platforms and network communities, they know how to build influence without formal titles even. They're not waiting for permission to lead. They are using digital platforms and informal channels to drive action and change from wherever they sit. And in today's decentralized hybrid environment, this agility is proving far more effective than traditional command and control models. It is essential. The Gen Z leaders assume diversity and inclusion also, and not as an HR initiative, but as a basic operating principle. They're not just reshaping the leadership, they are reminding us what leadership needs to become. They may be young, but as leaders, we need to listen, we need to adapt and embrace the new mindsets they are modeling because the future of leadership isn't just about experience, it's about relevance. And in many ways, Gen Z are showing us what relevant leadership truly looks like. And that's something every generation can learn from. And I think today, every senior leader of an organization must pause and reflect on a new set of critical questions. Like what does effective leadership look like in a Gen Z-driven world? How can we build teams and cultures that are truly future-ready? And is our current leaders equipped to navigate this transformation? And the most important thing is, do they know how to lead Gen Z in a way that empowers them rather than controls them? All these questions any senior leader of an organization needs to ask, I believe.
That's actually good perspective on how Gen Z leaders and leadership roles are different, and millennial and boomer leaders are different. Wow, good. This is my last question to you. So you've worked in high performance environments across multiple industries. What continues to motivate you today as a HR leader?
What truly motivates me as an HR leader isn't when everything is running smoothly. It is when I'm stretched, challenged, and operating outside my comfort zone. Because that's when I feel most alive. If I look back at my career, every role I've taken on has been different. Different industry, different business stage, different strategic focus. And that wasn't by accident. I am driven by the opportunity to build, solve, adapt, and create value in spaces that are constantly evolving. One thing I'm also deeply motivated by is people, because I've always believed that the real strength of a team lies in its diversity, and not necessarily in just demographics, but in mindsets, personality, and way of thinking. I intentionally surround myself also with people that are not like me, and they're not like each other, even because we all bring something different to the table. And that's where the magic happens. No one has it all, but together we fill the gaps and elevate each other. I do it even with my friends, not even with my team. Uh, of course, change comes with anxiety, and I would be dishonest to say otherwise. But perhaps that anxiety is what keeps me going. It's pushing me to learn, to grow, and to stay curious. Because we learn every day. We learn from our teams, from our leaders, from our kids sometimes, and even from difficult moments. That ongoing learning is what gives my work meaning, especially when I see that learning is translated into impact for people, for culture, for business. And that's what I think truly motivates me.
Oh, that's actually very, very, very good as an understanding of it. That's good motivation, I'm sure. Okay, Dina, thank you so much for answering these 5 questions. I do have a fast-paced question round with you. You just have to complete the sentence. Are you ready for it?
I know.
Okay.
Play games.
Okay, so
Okay.
Dina, according to you, a red flag in leadership is
Ego,
okay. A mistake leaders often make.
micromanaging,
A mentor once told me something a mentor has once told you.
uh, don't lead to impress, lead to impact.
That's wonderful. Okay. The future of work feels like.
Agile.
Mm. And I want to ask you the last question, which is our tagline, Made for More. WeAce's tagline is Made for More. What does Made for More mean to you?
It's I think purpose. Kind of purpose.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for being part of the Spotlight.
Very much.
Yes,
With
you're
pleasure.
wonderful. Thank you.